Okay guys, welcome to my next stream, and today we are going to discuss how to do the preliminary pre-flight procedure, or how it looks like in a real life when you are coming to the airplane early in the morning and the airplane was towed overnight. The first point which I would like to tell you, it's you can come to the airplane and you find the airplane with doors closed or doors opens. If you are flying from your hub, that is the highest probability that when you come from briefing room to the airplane, you should find the maintenance personnel which is going performing the walk around and performing some checks over the airplane, and doors are open and you are good to go in, and that's basically okay. But what if I am flying not from my hub but from external airport and we were on hotel? Then we have some briefing with a hotel office room with the printer and print all the documentations which should be on the board, make some briefing. We come to the airplane and we find the airplane exactly at these conditions. So the doors are closed. Remember, we are three. So first the captain. The captain has responsibility over the all of the airplane. So the captain responsibility, if he comes to the airplane, is to ensure that the chokes are on. It should be on. Should be on. The chokes should not be removed while external parking. They come to the doors and you have to check your sealing tape with your watermark logo of your company that is not thrown. If it is thrown, that means that there was forced entry into your airplane, and this is the reason to call the police and civil aviation authorities in order to find if you don't have the bomb on the board, or to investigate what happens and why was the forced entry into the airplane. Okay, so if there is no, we can open the doors and come into the airplane. The first officer responsibility is to energize the airplane, and now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the responsibility of the cabin crew. What is the responsibility of the cabin crew? The responsibility of the cabin crew, it's basically the cabin crew, it's not here to serve meal, to give you some alcohol or whatever for your fun. Please behave to cabin crew, be gentle, be kind of them, because the main purpose of the cabin crew is to take care of of your safety. This is the main reason. So they will start with the security procedure and checklist. What does it mean? They should check that there is no bomb on the board, or suspicion, for example, baggage which was left from a previous flight or something like that. To check the security cards, life vest if there are any, all the emergency equipment like the fire extinguishers, medical kit on board, and then they will check all the equipment within the galleys and toilets, and then if they are completed, they can tell you that security checklist is completed. All catering, for example, is on board and they are ready for boarding. Okay, so the main purpose of the cabin crew is to take care of your safety. Okay, let's jump to the cockpit, and you will find the cockpit in this way. What does it mean? It does mean that the captain, the first of all, he needs to check the tech log or journey tech log, whatever we call it, and checked within journey tech log if there is no malfunction written by previous captain, and this malfunction, for example, was not advised to your company dispatcher, so you are not aware about this fact, so you have to check the journey tech log. Then should the captain put the reflection jacket and set the parking brake, like press the brakes pedals and put it like this, and checked the position lights is on steady, and then he can perform the walk around. Why he is performing walk around with this procedure? It's because this sign means that the airplane is already crew is on board and that the airplane is energized. And the reason for set parking brake is to see the pin on the main wheel well. If you don't see the pin, that means that the brake discs are wear and you have to replace them. That's why if you are performing walk around, you need to have parking brake set. Once the walk around is performed, I will not discuss it right now, he will set a walk around completed and airplane is visually okay. That means that it's visually okay. And he write it into the journey tech log. It's so-called the daily check that was performed. He put the stamp and sign it, and this check is valid for 48 hours. So this was the crew, cabin crew, what they are doing. Second, what was the captain doing, and now we are going to discuss what is doing and how is performing the preliminary procedure first officer. Okay. Okay guys, now the first officer responsibility. The first officer responsibility is to energize the airplane. So how we can energize the airplane? It should be done by ground power or by APU. We are going through the APU because this is more deep in systems. So first of all, put on your battery. You will see the battery discharge sometimes you cannot see, but minimum voltage is 22%. So if it is below 22, you will hardly start the APU. Then you can go to alternate flap switch. Here should be the blomb. That means that there was no maintenance actions, or the maintenance actions was performed on hydraulic B system, and it's correctly done. Then you can move to standby power. This will shouldn't be illuminated because standby power system is now not working. We are just on a battery bus. Hydraulic panel should be like this one, and do not put the engine driven pumps to off, because the solenoid of the engine driven pumps are wearing, and you are reducing the life of the solenoids. Wipers should be parks. gear should be down, 3 green, and now we need to test first the fault detection. Here we can see it's okay. Master caution overheat detect was. We can check the bottles. It's okay. You can put bottles are okay, so they are full with fluid. And now we can perform the test itself. Fire warning bell, master caution overheat, and these lights are illuminated overheat, and 1, 2, 3 switches illuminated. And now we are good to start the APU. So we press the momentarily switch to start within 2 seconds, and the APU should start. So this is normal discharge, low oil pressure, and EGT may start rising. And EGT has self-protection. It will go up to 800 approximately during the start. It depends on the altitude which are you starting the APU. Okay. Once we have APU started, we do another thing. Okay, you see how it discharged the battery quite high. It's okay. So now APU, this means generator of bus means when it's illuminated that we have GPU with a good quality. Okay, so we have we can connect the GPU on bus. So once the GPU is on bus, the airplane is on AC power, and now we put one pump on the left side because APU, I'm talking about GPU. APU source, or let's say, takes the fuel from the left side. Okay, so if we have more than 500 kilograms in center tank, we may put the center tank in order to extend the life of the APU fuel pump. If we would like to avoid, for example, let's say imbalance, we can take it from right side, but we need to open the crossfeed valve and then go for another pump. So that's the procedure. But the basic procedure is to put one of these pumps on and to start 1 hour of timing prior to put the APU on bleed, because again we are extended life of the APU. So once the APU it's on bus, we have AC power and we need to perform the fire test again. And why? Now we have to perform the fire test because of the one fact. The wheel well detection loop is AC powered. So if we perform it right now, you can see the wheel well now it's illuminated. That's why if we are performing fire test, or let's say if we are starting the airplane with APU, not the GPU but APU, we need to do the fire test 2 times. And there is one point I would like to tell you, that if there is a problem with fault detection, you don't see illuminated the fault detection. It should be a problem with fault detection loops. And how we can know that which loop it's working or it's not working? Because in engine number 1 we have 2 loops which are detecting the fire, and it's DC loops. On wheel well we have only one, and it's AC. On APU we have just one loop, and it's DC as well. On engine number 2 we have 2 loops, and on DC as well. So simply press A and do the fault and test again, and we will see which one is working. If there is no illuminated, for example, this fire button of engine number 1, we know that the fire loop of engine number 1 and fire loop A is inoperative. So this is the more deep in system. And now we perform the cargo fire test. Be aware of the fact that the cargo fire is DC detection loop, but the test power switch is AC. So we need to have the airplane on AC power. So we press the test. Again, these lights should be, and it's more or less okay. And the same procedure applies with the loop detection. Okay. So now we have this setup. We are going to the aft overhead panel, like here, and we check if the PSIU is illuminated or not illuminated. If it is illuminated, this PSIU is proximity system unit switch, and this means that it's dual channeled, and it has something in common, for example, for air ground sensor, takeoff configuration warning, max speed, speed trim system, and so on and so on. And if it is illuminated, that means that there are two channel failure. If we press recall and it's illuminated, that means that only one channel is has the problem. Then we check the leading edge devices. If the lights are okay, we put IRSs to now. We checked on DC first, then should align. We can put it like some guys put it over here just to test, just to check how many minutes it will take for IRSs to align. In modern airplane like NG, there are IRSs with laser gyroscopes. So it's basically most precise than older classics, which has mechanical gyroscopes. Okay, so we can continue. Service interphone should be off, because if you have service interphone on, that means that all external jacks are available and connected, and you cannot catch, for example, the 80s information. You cannot service the VHF panels. But anyway, that's another. This should be off. Then we checked. The engine panel. That means that reversers lights shouldn't be illuminated, and EEC should be with this condition. If we find it in, for example, that condition, or it is amber, that means, or yellow, that means that there is a fault with your it's so-called FEDEC, but in Boeing it is called Engine Electronic Control Unit. In classics, you find PMC, Power Management Control Unit. Okay, then we check the passenger oxygen, should be guarded closed, and crew oxygen. And crew oxygen in a real airplane, we have the table here, and the table shows us that if there is sufficient, for example, today we are performing with the crew. We are making, for example, line check. So we have on jump seat examiner or flight instructor or light training captain who are making or who are performing our check. So in this case, we have crew compositions of 2/3. That means that we are 3 in cockpit, 3 guys in cockpit. Okay, so we check the table with 3 guys in cockpit and how much of the oxygen we need. If there is lack of oxygen, that means that we have to skip our line training flight, and we have to perform normal flight, or we have to call the maintenance to replace the bottle. Okay, and we have also minimum crew oxygen in order to have 2 and 2, so that means that only 2 crews on board. So in this case, minimum oxygen, I can't remember what was it, but it was on the table. It was approximately 1000 psi and 50 or something like that. Anyway, flight recorder, it should be illuminated. Press the fire test. Press the Mach warning test. 1, 2, and stall warning test, and be aware this switch is available when you are on AC power at least 4 minutes. So if there are no 4 minutes passed, you hear nothing. You need to perform the check once again. Okay, so we check the another indicator of our landing gear, and then we can go and we can check and perform the check of the circuit breakers. Everything should be in OK position. If there is any circuit breaker which just pop up, that means that there is something wrong, and you can call the maintenance. If you see the blomp, that we know that some systems are inoperative, like now the weather radar is inoperative, so that's why there are 2 reds. Then we check the manual gear extension should be closed. Okay, this should be closed. Okay, I put it accidentally, but anyway. And what we can do the next, we check the circuit breakers on the left side. And in classics 737-400, there is the crew oxygen valve here, and you have to put it clockwise in order to open the crew oxygen, which is flowing to your oxygen masks. But this is valid for classics 300, 400 and 500. So now we are okay. The airplane is energized, everything is fine, everything is perfect. And what we can do the next is to check the emergency equipment. So the first, we checked the emergency escape rope is stowed on this position. Here in this folder you should have smoke goggles. Now you can check here the life vests. Then you can check the oxygen, should be in the green band. You check the crash X. Then you can check, this is the PBE. It's a portable device unit, or PBU or PBE. It depends on provider of the PBE. It's some kind of mask which you put on your head, and you can breathe within the fire, and you can move within the cockpit with this mask, or go out of the cockpit if there is some need to do so. Okay, so check the PBE, and checked as well. I need to scroll it like now. Check as well the life vest, smoke goggles, escape rope, and here in this place should be 2 flashlights. There are whites, and they are constantly depicted the signal which is flashing red light. This should be 1 flash per 7 seconds, and this is the sign that the flashlights, it's emergency flashing lights, it's fully charged. So this is the emergency safety equipment on board that we have checked. And now we need to check the documentation, if we have the documentations on the board. And And how do we perform this this check? So what we need to have on board? Which of the documentations we need? The Alpha Omega is airplane flight manual. It's like a big book, and it should be stored somewhere over this secondary jump seat. Okay. Then we need to have Flight Crew Operation Manual Volume 1, 2. We need to have Flight Crew Training Manual. We need to have Weight and Balance Manual. And we need to have Minimum Equipment List and Configuration Deviation List, Dispatch Deviation Guide Procedure Book, and company manuals, which are Operation Manual Part A, B, C, and D. And then we should have Journey Technical Log. We should have load sheets, because in case of failure of EFB, electronic flight bag, you have to do the load sheet manually. And there is another document which is MEL-CDL, and there is depicted all the inoperative systems and everything like that. And the second is the envelope, and with this envelope there are plenty of documentations like airworthiness certifications, third-party insurance, for example, AirNav approvement, and so on. There are basically 12 or 13 documents, I guess so, and you need to check their validity. If there is okay, you may take your seat, you may put the company phone somewhere here, flight envelope here, and put the QRH on pilot monitoring side, and check if the checklist is on board. And if it is during winter operationals, you have to check if you have your winter operational handbook as well with you. And now you are fully ready. You tune the 80s, and according to 80s you are just going and making and performing the pre-flight procedure. So this is the part which is related to the first officer. So I hope you like this video, and yeah, if I did something wrong, just tell me, remind me with the comments below. I will highly appreciate it. I hope you like this video. See you next time soon. Bye.